That's right. 23% of the Gospels are actually about Christ dealing with demons. Well, and a lot of the Christians will just say, well, I believe in God, but I don't necessarily believe in the devil. And you're like, well, do you believe in Scripture? Well, yeah. Well, then how can you not believe that this is one of the primary missions of Christ was to save us from the reason behind that? So if you, and it's not just here like in the United States, it's actually in the West in general, the Christian West specifically. And basically it had to do with the advent of psychology. So when psychology came on board, it became in vogue, especially in the 50s and in the 60s, to just think that that all these people's problems were just purely psychological. I mean, there are psychological, but the fact is that so they just started chalking it up, and that's one of the reasons why in the United States, before the 1960s, the number of dioceses, that is the Catholic diocese that had an exorcist, was fairly high. I mean, every major diocese would have one. But then it started to decline precisely based upon that thinking. But then over the course of time, they began to realize, well, look, there's certain things we're seeing that are not psychological, and so they can't be explained in that way, and people needed the help. And so now the bishops are coming a little bit more up to speed in that regard. Well, I think that was only one aspect of it. I think that the real goal of a lot of the psychologists, which is in the literature, is that many of them are atheists. And so they wanted to eliminate any concept of anything supernatural, or what we call preternaturals, which is the demons are preternatural. They're not supernatural. God is the one that's supernatural. But we tend to talk that way. Although sometimes people will just say supernatural, thinking about demons in that way. Preternatural comes from the Latin word praeter in natura, which means aside from nature. So that would be things that are above what we experience as human beings in this world. But it's not supernatural because it's not God. It's kind of in that in-between state, which is what the demons are. But they're still considered natural in the sense of they have a specific nature that God created them with. They're created beings, and that they actually have a natural law. They have they're structured to think in certain patterns in certain ways. So it's kind of a middle tier, but it's preternatural. Supernatural would be something like being able to suspend the laws of nature, cause miracles, for example. But they can cause things that to us as human beings are outside our normal experience, and so it looks miraculous, but it's actually not. It's something that they